The dinner party was supposed to showcase Dad's promotion to regional vice president. He'd invited his new boss, 3 senior executives, and their spouses. The dining room table was set with Mom's good china, the kind we weren't allowed to touch growing up. Candles flickered. Wine bottles lined the sideboard, expensive labels facing out. I was 24 and still living at home while saving for my own place. I'd been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 16 and managed it carefully with insulin and regular blood sugar monitoring. But tonight, something was off. I miscalculated my dinner insulin dose, stressed about being on display for Dad's colleagues. By 8:30, I was feeling wrong, shaky, sweating. I checked my blood sugar in the bathroom, 52. Dangerously low. I needed glucose fast. I came back to the dining room, interrupting Dad's story about closing a major deal. "Dad, I need some juice. My blood sugar's low." He glanced at me, irritation flashing across his face. "There's juice in the kitchen. Help yourself." "I'm feeling really dizzy. I don't think I can." "Michael," he cut me off, using my full name the way he did when he was angry. "We have guests. Go to the kitchen and handle it quietly." I made it to the kitchen, but my hands were shaking so badly I could barely open the refrigerator. I grabbed the orange juice, tried to pour a glass. The carton slipped, juice splashing across the counter. Mom found me leaning against the sink, the room spinning. "Michael? What's wrong?" "Blood sugar. It's really low. I can't." She got me juice and made me drink it, but I was dropping fast. 52 was already dangerous. By the time the juice would work, I might be unconscious. "I need to lie down," I said. "I think I need to call my doctor." "Let's get you to the couch in the den, away from the party." But when we walked back through the dining room, I stumbled and grabbed the doorframe for support. Dad's boss, a man named Richard, noticed immediately. "Is he all right?" "He's fine," Dad said quickly. "Just had a bit too much wine earlier. Michael, go upstairs." "I didn't have wine," I said, my words slurring slightly. "I'm diabetic. My blood sugar." "Upstairs. Now." Dad's voice was steel. I tried to walk. Made it 3 steps. Then my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the carpet. The room erupted. Mom screaming my name, chairs scraping. Dad's voice cutting through it all. "Get up. Michael, get up right now." I couldn't get up. The world was tilting, darkening at the edges. I heard voices but couldn't make out words. "Should we call an ambulance?" That was Richard's voice. "No, he's fine." Dad's voice, tight with anger. "He's being dramatic. He does this for attention. Michael, stop this right now. You're embarrassing me in front of my boss." "Robert, he's not moving." Mom's voice, high with panic. "Because he's faking. Get up, Michael. This is ridiculous." Someone was shaking me. I tried to respond but couldn't form words. The darkness was closing in, that dangerous slide toward unconsciousness every diabetic fears. "I'm calling 911. A woman's voice, one of the executive's wives. "Don't," Dad said. "He's fine. This is what he does when he wants attention. Last month he pulled the same stunt. Last month he had the flu and was dehydrated," Mom said, her voice shaking. "This is different. His lips are turning blue." The darkness took me then. I have no memory of what came next. Mom told me later what happened. They tried to stop the woman from calling 911, said it was unnecessary, that I'd get up on my own. But she called anyway. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. My blood sugar had dropped to 38. They gave me an injection of glucagon and started an IV. Dad kept insisting it wasn't serious. Told the paramedics I was exaggerating, that I did this for attention. One of the paramedics, a middle-aged woman named Patricia, told him flatly that I was minutes from a diabetic coma, that if they'd waited any longer, I could have died. Dad said I was being dramatic. They transported me to the emergency room. I woke up there, hooked to monitors, IV in my arm. Mom was sitting beside the bed crying. Dad was pacing near the door, on his phone. The ER doctor, Dr. Sanchez, came in once I was stable. He looked at my chart, then at me, then at Dad. "Your son was in severe hypoglycemia. Blood sugar 38 when the paramedics got to him, dropping fast. Another 5 minutes without treatment and he would have slipped into a coma. Another 10 and we'd be having a very different conversation, about brain damage or death." Dad crossed his arms. "He's diabetic. He knows how to manage it. You should have checked his blood sugar before dinner." "I did check," I said weakly. "I miscalculated my insulin. It happens. That's why I told you I needed help. You interrupted my dinner party. Dr. Sanchez stared at Dad like he was speaking a foreign language. Sir, your son nearly died tonight. Do you understand that? I understand he has a tendency to exaggerate his symptoms for attention. There's nothing exaggerated about a blood sugar of 38. There's nothing attention-seeking about nearly losing consciousness. If the paramedics had been delayed, if that guest hadn't called 911 when she did, your son would not have woken up. Dad said nothing, just stood there with his arms crossed, jaw tight. Mom was crying harder now. Robert, he could have died. He could have died in our dining room while you told people he was faking. He's fine now. That's what matters. Dr. Sanchez shook his head slowly. I've been an ER doctor for 20 years. I've seen a lot of things. But I've never seen a parent dismiss a life-threatening medical emergency as fake because it inconvenienced them socially. Are you criticizing my parenting? I'm documenting what happened here tonight. Your son presented symptoms. He asked for help. You denied that help and accused him of faking. A guest had to intervene to save his life. Yes, I'm documenting all of that. They kept me overnight for observation. Mom stayed. Ed left after an hour. Said he needed to salvage what he could of the evening and make apologies to his guests. The next morning, Mom drove me home. Dad was already at work. When he came home that evening, he didn't ask how I was feeling. He told me the dinner party was ruined, that Richard had been uncomfortable, left early, that the other executives spent the rest of the evening worrying instead of networking, that I cost him professionally. You nearly cost me my life, I said. Don't be dramatic, you're fine. That was the moment something broke. Not loudly, just a quiet snap of the last thread holding me to the idea that my father cared about me more than his image. I moved out 2 weeks later, found a small apartment, took on extra work to afford it. Mom helped with the deposit, secretly. Dad said I was being ungrateful after everything they'd done for me. I saw Mom regularly. Dad, I avoided. Over the next 3 years, I built a life, got a better job in tech sales, then a promotion, then another. I was good at sales, good at building relationships, good at reading people. The skills you develop as a child trying to manage a parent's ego translated well into managing client relationships. I bought a small condo, then sold it and bought a larger one. The tech market was booming. I invested well. By the time I was 30, I had enough to put a down payment on a house in Riverside Estates, a gated community on the north side of the city. The house had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool, and a detached guest house in the back. It was more space than I needed, but it was an investment. Property values in Riverside were climbing fast. Mom was proud. She visited often, always on weekdays when Dad was at work. She never told him where I lived. The distance between my parents had become obvious. They slept in separate rooms, spoke to each other with cold politeness. Then last month, Mom called. I'm leaving your father. What? I should have done it years ago. After what happened with your diabetic attack. After watching him dismiss your near-death experience as embarrassing. I should have left then. Her voice was steady, resolved. But I'm doing it now. I found an apartment. I'm moving out this weekend. Does he know? He will. I'm telling him tonight. Dad didn't take it well. According to Mom, he was shocked. Couldn't believe she'd actually leave. Thought she was being overdramatic, that she'd come back after a few days. She didn't go back. The divorce was quick and uncontested. Mom didn't want anything except her retirement account and her car. Dad kept the house, the furniture, everything else. He thought he'd won. But without Mom's income, without her managing the household finances, Dad struggled. He'd always been careless with money, spending to maintain appearances, expensive dinners out, new cars every 3 years, country club memberships. 2 months after Mom left, Dad lost his job. The company was restructuring. His position was eliminated. He was 58, with a large mortgage and expenses he couldn't cut fast enough. He burned through his savings in 3 months. He couldn't find another job at his salary level and started missing mortgage payments. The bank foreclosed 6 months after Mom left him. Mom told me all this secondhand. She felt guilty but relieved. I should feel worse about it, she said. But he made his choices. He chose his image over everything real. Dad tried calling me once. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail asking for money, saying he was going through a rough patch. I deleted it. Last week, I was having coffee on my balcony, the one that overlooks the front of my property and the gate entrance to Riverside Estates. I saw a car park on the street outside the gate. An old sedan, dirty, packed with belongings visible through the windows. A man got out. Older, thinner, wearing rumpled clothes. It took me a moment to recognize Dad. He walked up to the gate call box and called my house number. I watched my phone light up with his name. I didn't answer. He stood there for 5 minutes, then got back in his car. The next day, he was there again. Same spot, same routine. Called the box. I didn't answer. He sat in his car for an hour before leaving. This went on for a week. He was living in that car, I realized, parking outside my gated community, hoping I'd see him, hoping I'd answer. Finally, he left a voicemail. "Michael, it's Dad. I know you're there. I've seen your car in the driveway. I need help. I've been sleeping in my car. I lost the house. Lost my job. Your mom won't help me. I need a place to stay, just for a little while. Just until I get back on my feet. I know you have that guest house. I saw it from the street. Please, Michael, I'm your father." I stood on my balcony that evening, watching his car parked outside the gate. He was in the driver's seat, phone pressed to his ear, calling me again. I watched the phone ring. I didn't answer. From up here, I could see everything. My house, my pool, the guest house and back, empty and furnished, ready for guests who never came. And outside the gate, Dad sat in his car, surrounded by everything he owned, reduced to begging the son he called fake, the son whose near death he dismissed as embarrassing. Mom called that evening. He's been contacting everyone. My sister, your cousins, anyone who might give him money or a place to stay. Everyone's saying no. He's parked outside my house. I know. He told my sister he was going to camp out there until you helped him. Michael, you don't owe him anything. You know that, right? I know. That night at the dinner party, he chose his image over your life. He called you fake while you were losing consciousness. He told paramedics you were being dramatic. He cared more about impressing his boss than whether you lived or died. I remember. So you don't owe him anything. Not money, not shelter, not a second chance. She was right. I knew she was right. But the guest house was empty. 300 square feet of heated, furnished space that nobody was using. And outside my gate, my father was sleeping in a car. The next morning, I walked down my driveway to the gate. Dad saw me immediately, got out of his car, and walked to the bars separating us. "Michael, thank God. Listen, I know we've had our differences, but I'm your father. I need help. Just the guest house. Just temporary. I'll pay you back when I find work." I looked at him through the bars. Thinner than I remembered, older, the sharp edges of arrogance worn down to desperation. "You called me fake," I said. "You told people I was exaggerating while I was going into diabetic shock. You said I was embarrassing you while I was dying. I made a mistake. I was stressed about work. I didn't understand how serious it was. The doctor told you I was 5 minutes from a coma. You still said I was being dramatic. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I should have listened. I should have helped. But that was years ago. Are you really going to punish me forever for one mistake?" It wasn't one mistake. It was who you are. Who you've always been. Image over substance. Appearances over people. So you're going to leave me on the street? Your own father? I thought about the night of the dinner party, collapsing on the floor, Dad's voice. "Get up. You're embarrassing me." The darkness closing in. The paramedic who saved my life while Dad insisted nothing was wrong. I thought about the guest house. Empty and waiting. "Yes," I said. "I'm going to leave you exactly where you are. Because you left me on the floor dying while you worried about impressing your boss. You made your choice that night. This is mine." I walked back up the driveway. Dad shouted after me. Something about family, about obligation, about not being or kind or decent. I went inside, closed the door, and went back to my balcony. He stayed in his car all day, left as the sun went down, came back the next morning. I stopped looking out the window.